Hi, my name is Joe. I'm a physical therapist here at React Physical Therapy. I'm going to take you through some active releases today. So we're going to work on some of the lower body and back muscles, and these are great to do before a run. I also like to do them sometimes on non-running days as a whole group. And once you kind of get to know your body, you'll know which ones make you feel better and loosened up and kind of ready to run. So you can kind of pair your own, but I'm going to take you through some of the basics here. So I have a foam roller and a lacrosse ball that I'm going to use today. And what I'll do is I'll take you through one release, I'll explain it, and then I'll have you pause the video and you can do it yourself if you're following along. All right, so we're going to start with some of the hip flexor muscles. The first one is called iliacus muscle. So if you find your hip bones, the really hard part that sticks out in the front here, you go just inside of that, and that's where you're going to put the lacrosse ball for this one. So you never want to put the ball or the foam roller directly on a bone or on a joint. It always should be unmuscled. So let's take the ball, and this is where we're going to go, but we're going to go face down onto the ground. So I'm placing the ball under my hip here, just inside of that bone. I'm actually going to take my other leg and hike it up. I'm going to sink onto the ball. So it's really digging in here past my abs. I'm going to bend that leg and swing it side to side a little bit. And this is the active part of the release. We call it active release because we're digging into the muscle, at the same time actively using it too. I'm going to keep doing this until I feel like I'm noticing a difference, like it's less tight, less tender. If you want to put a number to it, then about 20 to 30 reps of the motion. Go ahead and pause and try this one. The next one we're going to do is another hip flexor muscle. It's called the psoas. This one's very deep. It actually attaches to the inside of your spine and then goes down to the hip here. So what we're going to do is in between that same hip bone that we found last time, the front of your hip bone here, and your belly button, we're going to go halfway in between there and aim there. So for this one, we're going to do the same lying down position. And it's extra important to really sink onto the ball for this one. I'm hiking the opposite leg up again. I'm bending the same side leg. And I really have to relax my abs and everything to let the ball go all the way back there. And sometimes this isn't even enough, so you can take a book or other hard object and put it under the ball to elevate that. So I'm going to swing the leg the same way, and sometimes you may need to adjust it a little bit, like move it down a couple inches and get that spot too. Go ahead and pause and get the psoas muscle here. Next muscle we're going to do is the low back or the lumbar paraspinal muscles. So these are the muscles that are not directly on the spine, but they run along the sides, both sides of the spine. So for this one, we have to make sure we're not exactly on the spine bones and that we're not too far out and up, that we're on the rib bones, but right in between on the squishy muscle part. So I'm going to lie on my back, and I'm going to put the ball down towards the bottom of my low back. You want to really relax onto it, and sometimes you can kind of rotate towards that side if you don't feel enough pressure. And then my motion is going to be to rotate that side. And you can play around with the best position. Go ahead and pause and try this one. So when you're doing the low back, you can take the ball and move it up a couple inches. This is a very long group of muscles, so you can move it up. Once you get to higher in the back, mid back, you can also try doing an arm movement instead of a leg movement and see which one you like better. next muscle group we're gonna get is the glutes. So the glutes have multiple muscles. There are the glute max, the gluteus medius, and then there are also smaller hip rotator muscles underneath. So we can really use the ball in multiple different locations. We're gonna do the same setup as the back, and then we're gonna put the ball under the squishy part on our glute. And I'm starting kind of at the top here, so I'm gonna try to really relax and sink onto the ball. And then same thing, rotate that side leg. Pretty simple. So you gotta get multiple spots with the glute because it's such a big region. So you wanna move a little more down and in the center as well. Same motion here. Go ahead and pause and do the glute. All right. The next muscle we're gonna work on is gonna be the quadriceps. For this one, I'm gonna switch over to the foam roller. So a lot of people may have just rolled up and down with the foam roller before. This is gonna be a little bit different. So to get the front quad, and it's set up like this, you wanna put most of your pressure on the side that you're releasing. So if I'm releasing my right side, I'm using my forearms to prop up, and I'm using the opposite foot to take some balance as well. And then I'm gonna find a sore spot on my right quad, and I'm gonna kick up and down, activating that quad at the same time. After you've done that for a little bit, you're gonna pick a couple different spots further down. So you roll along and do other spots closer to the knee as well. Go ahead and pause and release the quads here. Next up, we have another one of the quad muscles. It's called vastus lateralis. So we're not going to be straight forward, and we're not going to be all the way to the side, but we're going to be right in between at about a 40-degree angle. So I'm angled kind of forward but down. Same thing, you find a sore spot, kick your knee. And just like before, we're going to do the same thing, repeat the same thing in a couple spots, all the way down to before the knee. Go ahead and release your lateral quad there. The next muscle we'll do, we're going to use the foam roller again for the adductors. Those are the muscles on the inner thigh here. So this time, we're going to kind of lie on the side of the foam roller, hike the leg up onto there so we can get the inner thigh. And then you have to really roll onto it to get pressure onto there. So you should feel probably some soreness and tightness. This muscle tends to get tight when you do longer running. So you want to start right up near your hip, and then you're going to kick the leg in and out again. So just like the quad, we're going to find a few different spots. And sometimes you're more sore towards one end or the other, depending on the person. So go ahead and pause and release your adductors here for a couple minutes. For the next one, we're going to go back to the lacrosse ball. We're going to work on hamstrings. So the hamstrings are on the back of the thigh. We're going to start right under your sit bone. So that's the bone you can feel under your butt when you sit up nice and tall. So we're going to put the lacrosse ball just beyond that, not on the bone, but just past that. And you're going to sit somewhere where your knee's off the edge and you can kick. So ideally, you want a hard surface. So a bench or a hard chair works. A countertop works as well. So you're going to find a couple spots in the middle of the back of the thigh there. And once you get closer to the knee, you want to kind of get both the inside, kind of angled towards the inside, and you want to also put the ball on the outside to get different parts of the hamstring muscles. Go ahead and pause and release your hamstrings. All right, the last one we have here is the calf muscles. There's the lower leg, back of the leg. leg. So for this one, we're also going to use the lacrosse ball underneath. The calves also have two sides here. So sometimes if one side's more sore than the other, you can rotate your leg side to side like this. You can do it on the ground. And in order to get more pressure, you can cross your opposite leg over. So what I'm going to do for this is just pump my ankle up and down. Just like the others, we're going to do multiple different spots. Go ahead and pause and release your calves here. All right, that's all for the active releases. Like I said, you can do these all as a group, or you can pick the ones that you've noticed and learned work the best for you and get you feeling your best after running. These are also great to do before any other set of exercises because it kind of gets things reset, gets your muscles ready to work. Thank you.